Well, one of the fresh faces for the Liberals heading to Ottawa is Karim Bardeesy, MP-elect of the new riding of Taiaiako'n, Parkdale High Park. And he's joining us this morning on very little sleep. So, Karim, appreciate you being here this morning.
Good morning, Nick. Yeah, thank you.
What does it feel like to knowing that you're going to be going and representing people in that riding in Ottawa, in the next sitting of Parliament? What's that feel like for you?
It's a very full feeling. We got 35,000 votes or more than 35,000 votes last night. It's a huge sense of responsibility, but it's also a huge opportunity. We've got some real challenges in this country, and Prime Minister Carney's laid out a vision, and we're ready to get to work. When
you got into this race, the Liberal Party did not look like its fortunes were looking very good whatsoever. Can you describe what it's been like as someone who's been campaigning and running for the Liberals over the last several months in terms of kind of where your emotions and mind have been, thinking, I don't know what's going to happen, versus here we are going back to Ottawa as the government?
Yeah, I mean, this was really a calling for me, and I think a number of the other new candidates. Canadian sovereignty was at stake, and we felt compelled, we felt called to serve. I was nominated on the day the election was called, and I kind of had a sense that maybe things were going to go well. When the first door I knocked on, they said, we'll take a sign. Which, if you're a candidate, that's the ultimate thing. You want someone to show their support publicly. And as the campaign rolled, we really had people really plugged into the same issue, that they were concerned about Canada's sovereignty, and they saw we were renewed. And so we felt that in all kinds of ways. We had volunteers coming in through the doors, volunteers coming in off the streets, people shouting their support. Special feeling.
I know you've been in and around politics for many, many years, but putting your name forward, on a ballot like that, what was that move like for you? I mean, obviously it's paid off, but I wonder what your feelings were initially getting into this and saying, okay, I'll take this challenge up.
Yeah, it's really inhabiting a role that's so important for people. There's 115,000 residents in the riding, and you're asking them to place their trust in you. And so you do that with, I think, some humility, but also understanding that you're standing on the shoulders of all these volunteers and supporters.
Also, what's interesting about your riding in particular was that it was thought to be the NDP, the New Democrats, potentially best opportunity here in Toronto. But we, of course, saw the collapse of that party last night. As a political observer, I realize you're a partisan Liberal here, but what do you make of sort of the way events unfolded last night, and effectively the NDP is almost getting wiped off the electoral map in this country? Yeah, well, we experienced this even in the riding. We go to people who are longtime NDP voters, and they were quite happy with the NDP candidate in our riding. But they also looked at me and they said that my biography, my experience, my progressive credentials were something that they could put their trust in. They saw in Prime Minister Carney someone who was actually drawing the country together. And so you had not only NDP voters, but former progressive conservative voters who were coming over. And so I think there was something that was happening with the leadership, with the renewal, and then also I think with something of what I had to offer. Yeah. So what are you personally hoping to achieve for your riding in Ottawa?
Well, we've got big plans for building a lot of housing in the riding, for keeping and then growing some of the social programs, the social safety net, for investing in the CBC. We've got a lot of creators in the riding who are going to benefit from some of our arts and culture investments, the builders in the community, and the people who give care, the people who are responsible for so much of what happens behind the scenes.
What do you think the biggest challenges are going to be? Because you are going in now, it looks like in a minority situation rather than having a majority. What do you think that's going to mean in terms of getting that work done?
So I think we have a strong mandate. I think, as Prime Minister Carney said last night, we're approaching this work with some humility, but we have a strong mandate. We have also got some specific things we want to get done in the first setting of Parliament, getting this one economy across Canada piece of legislation moving. So I think it'll be quite an active next few weeks as we all, like any new job, you got to find your way around the place and meet your new colleagues. But we've also been given a mandate to get to work.
Okay, MP-elect Karim Bardeesy, pleasure meeting you. Good luck in Ottawa. Okay, that's going to be fascinating for you. Thanks for the time this morning on 2.5 hours of sleep. Thanks for being here.